Tower is now here, and well, this one's gonna be a controversial one. So the gameplay footage you guys are about to watch is gonna be taken from my live stream of me playing on viewer accounts. I was playing on a couple of viewer accounts. It took me about 7 hours just to complete two of them. I'm not gonna lie, because there was a lot of things that I had to go in and change and adjust and try to figure out what team comps I could do. Because this TOA, I'll admit, in my opinion, I think is the hardest TOA we've ever had. There was a lot of people who complained about Whimpering Waste last patch, so I'm really curious to see the complaints or lack of complaints for this new TOA. Um, in a in a way, I kind of like the new changes to an extent. To an extent, let me emphasize, because it allows free to plays to get more pulls in a way for you guys to get 30 stars. So you get like an extra like what 100 asterite or something like that. You're getting closer to getting where you want to be, assuming that you can still finish like the new fourth level, the fourth floor added to the side towers, right? The hard part about this is now you need 14. And another thing I want to complain about is when it came to Whimpering Waste last patch, people complained that they didn't have certain buffs and stuff like that. Some of the buffs felt pretty predatory, like it was only usable for some characters. And I want to see those same complaints be brought up for TOA, because I feel like if you're gonna complain about that for Whimpering Waste when you still had like generic damage buffs that you can grab and use on like pretty much almost any other unit and make it work very well, those same complaints should be carried over to TOA. When in this TOA, it's like the only generic buff you're gonna get inside the middle floor as of right now is gonna be when you're using your Resonance Liberation. A burst of Resonance Liberation damage will be like activated on the field that deals damage to the enemies. That's about it realistically. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot that really happens. You need to apply arrow erosion in the middle tower in order to strip the enemy of 30% of their defense. And there's only like 3 characters in the game who can do so. That is just Arrow Rover, Cartetyhia, and Kachona. And if you don't have any of those characters other than obviously Arrow Rover, you're kind of like just left to realistically use just Gion if you want to try to sit there and like push through with the damage. And if you don't have Gion, then you can obviously use your other option, which would just be a Havoc user. And your Havoc user, you better hope and pray is actually built, because you're not getting any other meaningful buff. Like there's no other buff happening other than the fact that the boss in those towers is just 10% more resistant to Havoc damage. Or sorry, non-resistant to Havoc damage. They'll take 10% more damage is what I was trying to say. That's something that should be brought up more. So based off of these TOA changes, I'm really curious to see the community's opinions. I personally had an easy time on my account. I do have every single unit, so I was able to make this work, but that's just my account. I'm not trying to think about myself. I'm trying to think about the general consensus of like the game, like the casual player, the average person, even new people who come into the game and stuff like that and want to try to experience Wuthering Waves, like how hard it's gonna be for them to try to obtain these goals. It also doesn't help that they chose the worst bosses possible to implement this experiment with. When we have these guys that just like to fly around and try to dodge and like avoid you to prevent you from doing damage. So we have heavily specific units needed to access these buffs or fully utilize the buffs in order to like clear the content with ease, on top of horrible quality of life bosses thrown into this TOA that just makes it really hard for certain characters to do the damage needed in order to reach these goals, like these time constraints. It's very, very hard. So that's just where I stand currently inside the game. It's just not easy. It's not easy. It's very, very, very difficult. I'm gonna let the video play out a little bit, and I'll talk here and there in between the video content just to see where things are, and just let you guys get an idea. The gameplay isn't pretty, like I said. I was I struggled for like 7 to 8 hours. So I was tired, my hands hurt, and I was playing on a viewer's account who had over 300 ping because they were from Southeast Asia, and I am North American. So there was also that taking effect. So some of the gameplay just isn't great. But I decided to showcase it anyways, again, for people who play like me. Like I always say it, I don't consider myself to be a tryhard in these kind of games. I play gacha games for fun. It's not the kind of game I sweat in, but I have a great understanding of these kind of games because there's other games I dabble with that, um, you know, builds are like a huge part, which is why I'm really excited for Duet Knights Abyss. If that game is perfect, I'm gonna go like crazy on Duet Knights Abyss. Okay, like I do see myself shooting guides out for that because that's like my expertise. I like doing nerdy stuff. But again, we're gonna let some of this play out, and I'll comment here and there throughout the video. Oh, dude, that's heavily in favor of fucking Augusta. What the hell? I didn't read that last time. Okay. Shit. If we're trying to save Augusta for that, then let's start challenge. We're gonna try to 3-star it without clearing it, right? And if we can use a new team comp, we'll just do that. Let's see what we got. Who can we use? So I had to actually go back and mess around with their account just a little bit. I decided just to go back to their side towers and just solo it with their encore instead. It just made my life a lot easier. It freed up their Cheng-Li because their Cheng-Li was being utilized, and I need her later on for some future runs. So this just became a lot easier. I would highly recommend doing this based off your account. If your account falls into a similar situation, this will probably be the best method for you. Just use a weaker character. Thank God that like the level 70 enemies are kind of like the same scaling as overworld enemies. So you should be able to kill them perfectly fine, even if your characters aren't actually built. Here we actually are using his Yanwu, and his Yanwu is built, and this is just sad. This is so sad. His Yanwu is level 80, fighting level 75 enemies. His talents are actually upgraded. He's also running like a level 80 weapon too, and he actually spent time investing into it. His stats are pretty nice. He has the correct echo sets on and everything, but his Yanwu just sucks, man. Like you just can't do any damage with this guy. So going back to that tier list video, yes, Kuro, please buff this guy. His damage should not be this low, especially scaling off defense and having all of this defense buffs going on. Like he just should not be this weak ever. All right, he doesn't need to be cracked, but it doesn't need to be weak either. I'm just saying, this guy sucks. Going back to the video again. It'll probably help if I actually dodge. That would have been the absolute rotation. That would have been the run. But no, this boss is like the most annoying boss ever. He just wants to fucking jump away from you and then intentionally make you miss out on damage. Like, bitch, sit still. I hate that so much, bro. It's like I'm playing a Souls game. It's gonna just have the bosses constantly leave away from you. Like, sit still, bro. It's gonna jump away, only jump away once. I do all that extra shit. Making me miss on unnecessary times. Hate it. Alright, we got it. For this part, I decided to use their Augusta. It actually took me a little bit. I know you guys are gonna look at the rotation, and you're probably wondering why I'm starting off with Augusta and not like Shorekeeper, Mortifi, or anything like that. It took me quite a while to make up the damage that we were lacking here, right? Their Augusta was pretty alright built. I was able to get most of the content done, but we were constantly being shy short of time because of the light crushers. So I decided to just start off with Augusta, instantly clear some of the mobs, and then by the time I switch to Shorekeeper, I can get Shorekeeper's rotations off into the Mortefi, and then use my Augusta so I can get that big massive rotation off around the right time and not be short trying to build up the rotation. I know it sounds a little bit backwards, but trust me, we sat here for a very long time. I was a little bit rusty here. Again, I was just crazy tired, man. So I was really sloppy on my keys. My hands were cramping up, and I was just playing kind of bad. But we got everything done nonetheless. So. We hit her for 453,000 damage. I'll fucking take it, dude. Get out of here. Too bad I can't use more Tefi again. Oh, God. Do you have yellow? During this part of the video, it's kind of funny because I thought I didn't have enough damage with Augusta, and I was kind of skeptical to do this whole fight without Mortefi, but yeah, no, their Augusta was actually far more cracked. So it was by this point I had actually realized that, you know what, maybe I can go back, do the rotation differently, and clear some of those towers again without actually needing more Tefi, so then I can free up some of their characters later on and actually get the 36-star clear, which I think is what we do shortly after this this whole fight. it's times like this that just really showcases why Augusta is just a great character to have on your account. Like, an Augusta Cheng-Li team is not a team I would imagine seeing, but I actually had quite a lot of fun playing Cheng-Li with Augusta. And I think that's why I rated her so high on my list and made her a bulletproof character, is because she just works great with whoever you decide to throw her with, man. If you haven't watched that tier list video, I highly recommend you go check it out. Going back to that tier list video too, there are some characters I really do want to go back and re-talk about. This video's come out a little bit later from the actual recording, unfortunately. Took me quite a bit to do some editing, but Iuno finally dropped. And with Iuno finally being here, it's like I want to talk about Iuno, and I also want to talk about Calcharo again. I was actually playing on one of my viewers' accounts during the release of Iuno, actually, and we were doing some of their TOA, and I had a chance to play on his Calcharo. His Calcharo's S0, his Yilin wasn't really built or anything like that, but the amount of damage his Calcharo was putting out on the right side of the tower was actually really, really impressive, and it actually inspired me now to actually go back and build my Calcharo. And go figure, I lost 50-50 on Iuno, so guess who just got an S6 Calcharo? I did. So hopefully at some point I'll actually do a build video, or not a build video, but a character showcase with S6 Calcharo, and hopefully get him up and running so he can look kind of impressive by the time you guys get to see it. Cheng-Li hits, I guess, like, I think she is strong, but, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just super biased because I do have Lupa now. Like, I see her damage numbers, but, like, that's with Lupa, though. Like, Lupa's over-amping her because she's, stripping enemies of the resistance and shit. But I am curious to see how strong Cheng-Li is, like, when I actually get her weapon. I don't have Cheng-Li's weapon, and I don't have any cons on Cheng-Li, so... I wouldn't mind Cheng-Li being strong, because Cheng-Li is the character I wanted. Now, I wanted to like her, but Jin Shi was just so much better. It was like, you ain't keeping up with Jin Shi, so... Fuck it. Damn, I can't use that. The strategy here was kind of simple. It was just I would have used his Bai Ji a little bit, but she wasn't going to give any notable buff other than the rejuvenating glow, and at that point I could have just used Rover. So my idea was to use Arrow Rover to apply Arrow Erosion onto the boss, and then have the Arrow Erosion debuff on him, switch to Mortefi, use Mortefi's Moonlit Cloud buff and heavy attack damage amplification for Jian to give Jian that extra boost he needed. And that was pretty much it. I'll let the rest of the video play out, but that was my plan, and I think it worked. I don't know if the Arrow Erosion buff was actually being applied here. I don't really see the Arrow Erosion stacks, so I think it's safe to say it isn't, but For copium's sake, we'll just say it is being applied. All right, just for the sake of coping.
He's almost dead. He's almost dead. Stop hitting me, you bitch. Die. Come here. Stop hitting me. Kill him. Thank you.
That's the end of the video. Please, for me, if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I really appreciate you checking out the video. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Love you guys.